Assalamualaikum dear students, my name is Shazia Khalid. I hope you all are fine. Today we are going to start the first chapter of chemistry of class 10, and the name of the chapter is chemical equilibrium. Before going to start the chapter, let me give you the little introduction about the types of chemical reaction, and these reactions will help you to understand the different examples and concepts given into the chapter. Uh, the types of chemical reactions are reversible reaction and irreversible reaction. What are irreversible reactions? Those reactions which proceed in the single direction. Single direction means only in the forward directions. Means once the reactants are reacting with each other, finally we get the product. And remember that irreversible reaction always proceed in the open container. Let's see the example of sodium metal and water. When sodium metal reacts with water, after reacting with each other, we get the sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. As you know that the reaction is proceeding into the open container, so after the reaction, we get the product sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Uh, Before going ahead, let me tell you some properties of irreversible reaction. Then again, I will explain you this example. So, irreversible reactions are unidirectional. I told you before that always it proceeds into a single direction, means forward direction. Reactions completely converts into product, and this reaction is represented by the single head arrow. C, A and B, these are two reactants, and arrow shows that the reaction is converting or is proceeding into the forward direction, and we are getting the product C and D. Reactants are completely converted into product C and D. As I have given you the example of sodium metal and water, so I told you before that sodium metal and water are reacting with each other into the open container, so we are getting the sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. See that in the container sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas are present. Hydrogen gas, being a gas, evolves from the container. Only inside the container sodium hydroxide left behind. After the reaction of sodium metal and and water, we are getting sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. But when the product are formed into the open container, sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas is forming. So being a gas, hydrogen gas evolved from the open container. Only sodium hydroxide left behind. So reaction finally stops here. Sodium hydroxide and water is converted into sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. The next example of irreversible reaction is calcium carbonate, and the delta H shows this sign shows the heating. So I told you before that reaction is proceeding into the open container. So calcium carbonate, when you heat up the calcium carbonate into the open container, it converts into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. See, after decomposing the calcium carbonate, we are getting calcium oxide, a carbon dioxide gas into the container. See, in the open container, we have calcium oxide and carbon dioxide gas. So, being a gas, calcium oxide, carbon dioxide evolves from the container. Finally, calcium oxide left behind, and the reaction stops. Come to the next type of a reaction, reversible reaction. Reversible reaction is proceed forward as well as in the backward or reverse direction. Mean it proceed in two direction. Reactants to products in the forward direction, and from products to reactant into the reverse direction. Let me give you the example of calcium carbonate. Reversible reaction always proceeds into the closed container. See, calcium carbonate, we are heating the calcium carbonate into the container. So we are getting the calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. This time the container is closed. So calcium oxide and carbon dioxide remains inside, carbon dioxide gas remains inside. it cannot escape because the container is closed. So carbon dioxide will recombine again with calcium oxide, and again they will convert into the calcium carbonate. Means in the forward direction we are getting from calcium carbonate, we are getting calcium carbonate, calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, and again in the container calcium oxide and carbon dioxide are recombining each other, and in the reverse direction they are converting into the calcium carbonate. Thank you so much.